6 years after he abandoned her, the most feared Mafia king on the East Coast walked into her cafe and froze when he saw the little boy behind the counter. Mara Bennett had spent years building a life quiet enough to feel safe. A navy blue door, the smell of fresh coffee, her son sorting sugar packets before school. Ordinary things carefully protected from a past she never spoke about. Then Adrian Vale stepped in from the rain. One look at the boy's gray-green eyes was enough to destroy every lie that had kept them apart. But this is not only a story about a hidden child or a dangerous man returning. It is about what happens when love, fear, and regret arrive at the same door demanding an answer. Stay until the end because every secret has a price, like the video and comment where you are watching from. For 3 full seconds, Mara heard nothing but rain against the windows and the soft clatter of dishes from the kitchen. Whether you tell me the truth or not, Victor Halden already believes he is. Adrian had spoken quietly, but the words filled every corner of the cafe. Mara looked at the photograph again. Noah outside his school. Noah laughing. Noah unaware that a stranger had aimed a camera at him. Her fear changed shape. Until that morning, fear had been an old thing. A memory she kept folded away with hospital bills, a dried newborn bracelet, and the number of a man she had once believed could protect her from anything. Now fear had a name she had never heard. Kayla Mara said. Kayla stood beside the register trying not to stare at Adrian. "Take the pastry trays to the back, then get your coat." "Mara, are you sure no?" It was the truth, and it frightened Kayla more than a lie would have. Mara pulled the shade over the front door. Through the narrow gap, she saw 2 black vehicles idling across the street. A man in a dark suit stood beneath the pharmacy awning watching the cafe without appearing to look at it. She turned the sign from open to closed. "We just started the morning shift," Kayla said. "I know. What do I tell people? Plumbing problem?" Kayla glanced at Adrian. "That is a very expensive-looking plumbing problem." Mara took cash from the register and pressed it into her hand. "This covers today." Before leaving, Kayla leaned close. "Do you want me to call the police?" Adrian heard her. Mara knew because his gaze shifted toward the window. "No. Go home. Lock your door." The bell chimed when Kayla left. One of Adrian's men moved toward her car. Adrian spoke without turning. "He will make sure she gets home safely. I did not ask you to do that." "No. You do not get to make decisions for people in my cafe." His eyes returned to hers. "Then tell me to call him back." Mara looked outside. Kayla was already inside her car. The man stepped away once the doors were locked. Mara said nothing. Adrian removed his coat and laid it over a chair. Beneath it, he wore a black suit with no tie. 6 years ago, she had known every line of his throat. She looked away before memory could become feeling. "Sit," she said. He remained standing. That was not a request. Something passed through his expression. Recognition, perhaps. The old Mara had spoken to him that way before she understood how many men feared him. He sat. Mara stayed behind the counter and turned off equipment that did not need to be turned off. Her hands needed work. The cafe had always given them work. Harbor and Ash was narrow, imperfect, and hers. The tables did not match. The copper lights had come from a closed bakery. Noah's drawings were taped beside the office door. The navy blue front door had been his choice. He had been too when Mara held paint samples beneath the afternoon sun and asked which looked safest. He pointed to the darkest blue. "That one looks strong." She painted the door while he covered the bottom corner in uneven strokes. She never corrected them. The cafe had not appeared because Mara was brave. It had appeared because she was tired of asking permission to survive. Before Harbor and Ash, she worked opening shifts at a hotel near the river, then cleaned offices after Noah went to sleep. Diane watched him 3 nights a week. On the other nights, Mara carried him home wrapped in a blanket after closing his warm cheek resting against her shoulder while she counted tips in the dark. She saved in small amounts. $20 in an envelope. $40 when Noah did not need medicine. $100 after a holiday shift that left her feet bleeding through her socks. When the lease for the narrow storefront became available, the ceiling leaked and the floor smelled like bleach. The owner gave her 30 days to decide. Mara signed in 12. She learned to repair cabinet hinges from library books. She watched videos about commercial grinders after midnight. She painted walls while Noah slept in a portable crib beside the counter. No one had handed her the life Adrian now stood inside. Every chair, every cup, every morning she unlocked the Navy door had been built from choices made after she stopped believing rescue was coming. That was why his presence felt like more than an intrusion. Adrian did not merely bring danger into the cafe. He brought back the version of Mara who had once believed safety could be found inside another person. She had buried that woman carefully. Now he was sitting 10 feet away from her. Adrian looked at a drawing of Mara and Noah beneath a large blue rectangle. Only 2 people. His school is 7 minutes away, Mara said. There are cameras at both entrances. The camera on the west entrance has been broken for 9 days. Cold moved through her chest. How do you know that? My people checked. When? Last night. So you have had men watching us since yesterday, since I learned Halden had your name. Mara came out from behind the counter. Who is Victor Halden? Adrian rested his forearms on the table. He controls freight moving between New York-Boston and the Canadian border. Trucks, private docks, warehouses. Some of it is legitimate. Most of it is not. What kind of freight people? Weapons, narcotics, whatever pays. And I control ports he wants. That is not what I asked. No. She waited. My business is not clean, Mara. I remember. I do not move people. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No. The honesty stopped her anger for half a breath. A year ago, Halden tried to force one of my partners out of a terminal in Boston. I stopped him. Since then, he has tested every boundary I have, and now he photographs children. Now he is looking for something I cannot afford to lose. You cannot lose what you never had. The word struck. She saw it. Adrian leaned back. 3 weeks ago, a car followed me from Boston to Quincy. Last week, one of Halden's men paid an investigator for records connected to people I knew 6 years ago. 2 days ago, that investigator searched your cafe registration. Yesterday, someone stood outside Noah's school. Mara sat because her knees no longer felt dependable. How did he connect me to you, I do not know yet. That is not good enough. I agree. His calmness made her want to throw something. Then he asked, Why did you leave without a word? She laughed once. You are asking me that. Now I asked myself for 6 years. That must have been difficult. Mara. No. You do not say my name like that and turn this into something that happened to you. Adrian went still. Roman Pike came to my apartment. The air around him changed. When 6 years ago, 3 days after you left for Montreal, what did he say? You truly do not know? No. The memory returned with cruel clarity. Rain against the fire escape. A knock at 9:40. Roman Pike standing in the hallway in a gray coat, black gloves still on. I only need 5 minutes, he had said. Roman was Adrian's man, one of the few allowed to speak without permission. Mara had believed proximity meant trust. He placed a thick envelope on her kitchen table. What is that, a practical solution? To what? To a problem that has not become dangerous yet. He told her Adrian was being watched. Rivals had noticed he spent nights at her apartment. A woman with no protection could become leverage. Mara asked if Adrian sent him. Roman looked at her for a long moment. Adrian does not always recognize what must be done for him. It was not yes. It was not no. It allowed fear to answer. Roman pushed the envelope closer. People near Adrian get hurt. Smart women leave before he has to choose between affection and survival. What happens if I do not? Roman's smile disappeared. I know where your mother lives. He recited Diane Bennett's address, then walked out. Mara burned the cash after midnight. 2 weeks later, she stood in a pharmacy restroom holding a pregnancy test with 2 pink lines. She sat on the closed toilet lid until the automatic lights turned off. In the darkness, she imagined calling Adrian. She imagined Roman answering instead. Mara returned to the present with one hand against the espresso machine. Adrian had not moved. Did Roman know you were pregnant? No. Why did you believe I sent him? Because he knew everything about me. Because he used your name as a weapon and never seemed afraid you would punish him. I would have. But I did not know that. You knew me. I knew the man you were with me. I did not know the man you were when I was not in the room. He stopped several feet away. She could see the instinct to close the distance. He did not. You built a world where Roman could walk into my home and make me believe disappearing was the only way to keep my child alive. Our child. No. Adrian accepted the blow. You do not get that word because you saw a photograph. You do not get 5 years of birthdays and fevers because your eyes match his. Pain crossed his face before he hid it. I know. You know nothing about him. I know he keeps one shoe untied. Mara stared. I know he carries the blue backpack even though one strap is tearing. I know he waits at the school gate until you are close enough to see him before he runs. You watched him. For 2 days. That is 2 days too many. Yes. He did not defend himself. That made it harder to hate him in the clean way she had practiced for years. Adrian looked toward Noah's drawing. I searched for you. When? He hesitated. Not at first. For 3 years I believed you left because you chose to. I was angry, proud. I told myself you were safer without me, so you respected my choice. No, I punished you for making it. The admission was quiet. Then Roman mentioned your old apartment during an argument. He knew details I had never told him. I started asking questions. You kept him beside you. I had no proof. You had doubt. That should have been enough. For the man I was then, it was not. And the man you are now. He is standing in a cafe looking at 5 years he cannot get back. The rain softened outside. Mara wanted satisfaction. Instead, grief settled between them too large to belong to one person. What does Halden want? A terminal in Boston. Access to the eastern docks. And Noah is how he gets it. If he confirms Noah is mine, he already believes it. Yes. Then what happens? I put protection around you. No. You asked what happens. I asked what happens, not what you decide. His expression shifted. I am not leaving my home because a man I have never met wants something from you. I am not pulling Noah from school. I am not handing you control because danger made you remember I exist. I did not forget you. That is not the same as finding me. Adrian absorbed that in silence. Then he spoke carefully. 2 people near the school and cafe. Professionals. No visible weapons. No contact with Noah. A vehicle behind you when you drive. A secure phone with 1 number. Whose number? Mine. I do not want your number. You may need it. I needed it 6 years ago. His eyes closed for a second. You did. The apology was not spoken, but she heard it. Mara began setting conditions. No one enters my apartment. Agreed. No one speaks to Noah. Agreed. No one follows my mother. If Halden has her name, she needs protection. You ask her first. He nodded. No guns inside the cafe. No interference with my business. You tell me the moment the risk changes, yes, and you do not meet Noah. For the first time, Adrian's restraint nearly broke. He is my son. He is a child who saw you for 30 seconds. I am not asking to take him. You are asking for something he does not understand. I am asking to know him. He has spent 5 years without you. He does not wake up feeling an empty space shaped like Adrian Vale. The words wounded both of them. Mara forced herself to continue. He has school. He has a favorite cereal. He thinks thunder cannot find him if he sleeps under the couch cushions. He believes I can fix anything because I have never let him see what I could not fix. You do not walk into that because blood gives you permission. What gives me permission time? How much I do not know. That is the answer. He stood in silence, then nodded. Fine. She had prepared for an argument. His acceptance left her without the anger she had been ready to use. Adrian took a phone from his coat and placed it on the counter. One number. It reaches me day or night. What if I turn it off? I will still keep people near you. Mara looked at Noah's photograph. 1 week. At the end of the week, if there is no threat, your people disappear. If there is no threat, we discuss it. No. They disappear. He studied her face. Fine. Adrian picked up his coat and moved toward the door. Before he reached it, his gaze returned to the drawing of Mara and Noah. Does he ask about his father? Not often. What do you tell him? That families are different. And he accepts that he trusts me. The meaning beneath her answer was clear. Do not give him a reason not to. Adrian opened the door. Cold air entered the cafe. Mara said his name. He turned. If your world touches him, I will disappear again. This time you will never find us. For a moment he looked like the man people whispered about in restaurants and courtrooms. Then he looked toward the kitchen. If my world touches him, there will be nowhere on this coast Halden can hide. Mara did not find comfort in the promise. The bell rang as he stepped outside. One black vehicle pulled away. Adrian entered the second. The man beneath the pharmacy awning crossed the street and took a position near the cafe window. Mara stood alone in the quiet room. The espresso machine had gone cold. Noah's basket of napkins remained beside the kitchen door. She picked up the photograph. One shoe untied, blue backpack, gray-green eyes. For 6 years, Mara had built her life around ordinary dangers. Rent, fever, broken appliances, the sudden phone call from school. She knew how to survive things with names she understood. At 6:30 the next morning, a man carrying a folded newspaper entered Harbor and Ash and chose the table nearest the door. At 6:30 the next morning, the man carrying the folded newspaper entered Harbor and Ash and chose the table nearest the door. He was younger than Mara expected. Early 30s, perhaps. Dark hair cut close at the sides, plain charcoal coat, clean hands. Nothing about him demanded attention, which was exactly why she noticed him. Men who wanted to be forgotten always made Mara look twice. He ordered black coffee and paid in cash. Then he sat with his back to the wall and opened the newspaper without reading the first page. Mara watched him through the reflection in the pastry case. Every time the bell above the door moved, his eyes lifted before his head did. He tracked the entrance, the windows, and the narrow hallway leading to the rear exit. He did it quietly. Most customers would never have noticed. Mara noticed because Adrian used to do the same thing. Noah sat on a stool behind the counter eating cereal from a paper cup while Mara prepared the first trays for the morning rush. He looked toward the man. Why does he keep looking at the door? Mara placed a lid on a coffee. Maybe he is waiting for someone. He has a newspaper. People can wait and read at the same time. He is not reading. Mara looked down at her son. Noah lifted another spoonful of cereal. He has been on the same page for 10 minutes. There were moments when Noah's resemblance to Adrian arrived so sharply that Mara felt it like a hand closing around her ribs. She touched the top of his head. Finish breakfast. The man stayed until 8:15. He drank one coffee. He did not use his phone. He folded the newspaper into perfect quarters before leaving. The next morning he returned. Same table, same coffee, same unread page. On the third morning, Mara carried the cup to him herself. She placed it beside his hand. You work for Adrian. The man did not look up. I work for the person paying me. That is Adrian. He turned one page. You should charge me for the coffee. I did. He glanced at the receipt beneath the cup. She had charged him double. His mouth moved slightly. Fair. What is your name? He folded the newspaper. Ethan Shaw. Mara Bennett. I know. That is not reassuring. It was not intended to be. His voice was calm but not cold. Mara disliked how reasonable he sounded. She crossed her arms. You are sitting inside my cafe. Yes. You were supposed to be invisible. That was the original instruction. And now Mr. Vale believes you would prefer knowing who is near your son. Mara looked through the window. A gray sedan was parked across the street. She had seen it near Noah's school the previous afternoon. Who is in the car? One of mine, one of Adrian's. Ethan held her gaze. One of mine. The distinction mattered to him. Mara did not yet know why. No weapons inside the cafe. There are no weapons inside the cafe. She looked at the shape beneath his coat. That is a phone. It is a large phone. She almost laughed. The feeling irritated her. Do not speak to Noah. I have not. Do not follow us into the grocery store. I do not. Someone followed us yesterday. That was not my team. The room seemed to narrow around her. Ethan's expression did not change, but something in his posture did. He sat straighter. His eyes moved toward the window. What did the vehicle look like? White van. Rust near the back wheel. No company name. How long? From the school to Hope Street. Then it turned. Did you see the driver? No. Did Noah? I did not ask. Ask him casually. Do not tell him why. Mara leaned closer. You think it belongs to Halden. I think false certainty gets people hurt. That is not an answer. It is the only honest one. Ethan picked up his cup. The van was near the school on Monday. The plate belongs to a sedan registered in Maine. Cold moved along Mara's arms. You knew. We saw it once. One appearance can mean anything. And twice means I stop reading the newspaper. He stood. The movement was quiet but immediate. Mara watched him leave the cafe and cross the street. The gray sedan pulled away less than a minute later. Noah emerged from the kitchen with a box of sugar packets. Did the newspaper man leave? Yes. He forgot his paper. Mara looked at the abandoned newspaper. The page was blank where an article had been cut away. That afternoon, she changed Noah's route home. She told herself it was temporary. A small adjustment. Nothing that counted as fear. Instead of walking along the river, they took side streets past the library. Instead of stopping at the bakery window, they went directly to the apartment. Noah noticed. We are not getting the little cakes. Not today. Why? We have muffins at home. They are not the same. No. He looked up at her. Are you worried? Mara tightened her grip on his hand. Why would you ask that? You are walking fast." She slowed. Children did not need explanations to understand fear. They learned it from the speed of a parent's steps. "I am tired," she said. Noah accepted the answer, but he did not believe it. That night, Mara placed the secure phone Adrian had given her on the kitchen table. It had remained untouched for 3 days. At 11:40, the screen lit. Everything normal. Mara stared at the message. She typed yes. The reply came immediately. "Is Noah asleep?" She looked toward the hallway. His bedroom door was open. A small lamp cast a warm circle across the floor. "Yes." Another message appeared. "How is he?" Mara read the question 3 times. "Fine," she typed. She erased it. "He is 5," she typed. She erased that too. Finally, she pressed Adrian's number. He answered on the second ring. "Mara." No greeting, no surprise. He sounded as if he had been holding the phone in his hand. "The white van," she said. "Ethan told me the plate is false." "I know. You knew before he did." "Yes, and you did not tell me. I had no confirmation. You promised the truth. I promised to tell you when the risk changed. It changed when a false plate appeared outside my son's school." Silence. Adrian exhaled. "You are right." Mara had prepared for resistance. His agreement left nowhere for her anger to land. She moved to the window and pulled the curtain aside. A dark car waited beneath the streetlight. "Is that yours?" "Yes." "How many people are watching us for tonight?" "4. 2 near the building. 1 vehicle." "Ethan rotates between the cafe and the school. My neighbors will notice. They will think the car belongs to someone visiting across the street." "You sound very sure." "I have spent most of my life making sure people see what I want them to see." Mara let the curtain fall. "That is the problem." Adrian did not ask what she meant. He knew. She sat at the kitchen table. "Did you know about Noah before you walked into the cafe?" "No." "Do not answer quickly." "I did not know." "How did you find me?" "One of Halden's investigators searched a registration record linked to your mother's maiden name. My people monitor some of his contacts, and the photograph taken outside the school. We intercepted it before Halden received the full file." "You looked at it?" "Yes." "How long before you came to the cafe?" 3 hours. Mara imagined Adrian in some dark office staring at Noah's face. "What did you think?" The line remained quiet. For a while she believed he would not answer. Then he said, "I thought I was looking at myself before I knew what I had become." Mara closed her eyes. "That is not fair. No. You do not get to sound wounded. I know. You lost 5 years because you were proud. I lived them. I know." "No, you keep saying that as if knowing now changes what happened. It does not." His voice remained controlled, but she heard something beneath it, a fracture he refused to let widen. "I searched for you for 3 years," he said. "I searched badly at first." "What does that mean?" "It means I looked without admitting why. I asked people whether they had heard from you. I checked old addresses. I told myself I only needed to know you were alive. Why? Because anger stopped working." Mara pressed her fingers against the edge of the table. "What happened to Roman?" Nothing moved on the line. "Adrian. He is no longer in a position to make decisions." That sounds like something a man says when he does not want to admit someone is dead. "He is alive." "Where?" "In Boston." "You still let him work for you?" "Not after tonight." Mara stood. "What did you do?" "I asked him what he said to you, and he told me." The calm in Adrian's voice became frightening. Mara saw Roman again in her kitchen. Black gloves, rain on his shoulders. Her mother's address spoken like a blade laid flat on a table. "What did he say?" He said he protected me. A faint sound escaped Mara. Not laughter, not disbelief, something sharper. He protected you from a woman carrying your child. He did not know. That changes nothing. No. Adrian's answer came without hesitation. He believed anyone close to me made me weak. I allowed him to believe that because it made him useful. You made a man like that useful. Yes. And now he understands the cost. Mara gripped the phone. Did you hurt him? Yes. Her stomach tightened. How badly? Not enough to make him forget. She turned away from Noah's hallway. That is not what I wanted. I did not do it for you. Then why? Because men who act in my name answer to me. The old Adrian lived inside that sentence, the man who could speak quietly while deciding another person's fate. Mara remembered how safe that power once made her feel. Now it reminded her why she had run. If you want to know Noah, she said, you cannot let me discover pieces of you like this. I told you the truth, after I asked. That is how truth works between people who do not trust each other. The words stung because they were accurate. Mara lowered her voice. I do not know what to tell him about you. You do not have to tell him anything yet. He saw you. I know. He asked who you were. Adrian went silent. What did you say? That you were someone I used to know. A long breath crossed the line. That is true. It is not enough. No. Mara looked at Noah's empty cereal cup beside the sink. He notices things. He watches people. He will see Ethan. He will see the cars. Then I will reduce the visible team. That is not what I meant. I know. She hated how often he said it, as if the words could cross the years between them, one careful step at a time. Tell me something true, Mara said. Ask. Why did you come yourself? Because I saw his face. That is not an answer. It is the only one I have. She waited. Adrian's voice lowered. I have sent men to handle every difficult thing in my life. Roman handled you. Others handled the consequences. I saw Noah and understood that sending another man would be the same mistake. Mara sat again. The apartment was very quiet. What do you want from me? 1 meeting. No, 1 hour. Adrian. At the café. Daylight. You stay beside him. No guards inside. I will not tell him who I am. You already planned this. I hoped. There is a difference. For men like me, hope is planning without the right to command. The sentence settled between them. Mara looked toward Noah's bedroom. He had spent 5 years asking only simple questions. Why did rain smell different in summer? Why could grown people drink coffee if it tasted bitter? Why did some children have fathers at school events and he did not? She had answered the last question carefully. Families looked different. Love did not need the same shape. She believed those things. She also knew that one day Noah would ask why she had decided he did not need to know Adrian. Mara had spent years making choices for him because he was too young to choose. Now the man at the other end of the line had become real. Not safe, not forgiven. Real. 1 meeting, she said. Adrian did not speak. At the café, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, no suit. No suit, no men inside, no men inside, no gifts. A pause. No gifts. You do not tell him. I understand. If he becomes uncomfortable, you leave. Yes. And you are not his father in that room. Adrian's breathing changed. Mara closed her eyes. You are someone I used to know. When he answered, his voice was rougher. For him, I can be whatever you need me to be. The call ended at 12:17. Mara remained at the kitchen table until the secure phone went dark. Across the city, Adrian stood alone in his office above a closed restaurant. Roman's blood had been cleaned from the floor, but one dark stain remained beneath the edge of the desk. Ethan waited near the door. "You should sleep," he said. Adrian opened a drawer. Inside was a photograph taken 6 years earlier. Mara in a diner booth laughing at something outside the frame. Her hair had fallen across one eye. She had hated the picture because she thought she looked tired. Adrian had kept it because she looked happy. He placed Noah's surveillance photograph beside it. Same eyes, same mouth when caught between laughter and thought. Ethan moved toward the door. "Saturday at 10, Adrian said. Ethan stopped. She agreed, 1 hour. Adrian looked at the two photographs. For the first time, he let them touch. Saturday arrived beneath a clear white sky. For the first time in 3 days, it was not raining. Mara unlocked Harbor and Ash at 7, turned on the lights, and stood alone behind the counter, listening to the old pipes wake inside the walls. She had slept less than 2 hours. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Adrian looking at Noah's photograph. Then she saw Roman in her apartment. Then Noah at the kitchen table asking why the man from the café had looked sad. Mara had answered that some people carried old memories into new rooms. Noah had accepted this because he was 5. Mara had not. By 9:30 the morning rush had thinned. Mrs. Donnelly sat at her usual table near the window, slowly working through a blueberry scone. 2 nursing students shared notes in the corner. Kayla wiped the pastry case and watched Mara pretend not to check the clock. "You have cleaned that spoon 4 times, Kayla said. Mara looked down. The same silver spoon rested in her hand. It was dirty. "It is now the cleanest object in Rhode Island." Mara placed it beside the espresso machine. Kayla lowered her voice. "Is he coming back?" "Yes." "The expensive plumbing problem?" "Yes." Kayla glanced toward Noah, who sat at the far end of the counter arranging sugar packets into color groups. "Does he know?" "No." "Does the man know?" Mara looked at her. Kayla understood. "Oh, do not say anything. I would never." "I know." Kayla looked toward the front windows. "What do you need me to do?" "Treat him like any other customer. Any customer who arrives with men in black cars. No men inside." Kayla raised one eyebrow. Mara looked at the clock again. 9:58. Across the city, Adrian stood in front of an open closet. Every suit inside had been made for him. Dark wool, clean lines, quiet authority. Clothing designed to remove doubt before he spoke. He rejected all of it. He chose dark jeans, a charcoal sweater, and a plain black jacket. Then he stood before the mirror and disliked the fact that the clothes looked chosen. Ethan waited beside the bedroom door. "You look normal," he said. Adrian looked at him through the mirror. "Is that meant to be reassuring?" "No." On the table near the window rested a small wooden sailboat. Adrian had seen it in the display of a shop near the harbor. The hull was painted navy blue. The sails were white canvas. It had taken him less than a second to imagine it in Noah's hands. Mara had said, "No gifts." Adrian picked up the box, carried it downstairs, and placed it on the back seat of the car. Then he left it there. At exactly 10, the bell above the cafe door rang. Mara looked up. Adrian entered alone. No suit. No overcoat that cost more than her monthly rent. No visible men behind him. He paused inside the doorway as if waiting for permission to take another step. The room noticed him anyway. Mrs. Donnelly looked over the rim of her glasses. The nursing students stopped talking. Kayla stared openly for 1 second, then remembered Mara's instruction and turned toward the coffee grinder. Noah did not look up. He was counting blue packets. Adrian's gaze found him immediately. Mara came around the counter. "You are on time. I arrived early." "Where across the street?" She had not seen him. That meant Ethan was better than she thought. Adrian looked toward Noah. Mara felt his attention like pressure against her skin. Remember what we agreed. I remember. No questions about where he lives or where he goes to school. I understand. No promises. Adrian's eyes returned to hers. I understand. Mara moved beside Noah. Sweetheart. Noah looked up. This is Adrian. He is the friend I told you about. Noah studied him. The silence lasted long enough for Kayla to drop a metal scoop inside the grinder. Adrian did not smile too quickly. He did not reach out. He simply lowered himself until he and Noah were at the same height. That looks complicated, Adrian said. Noah glanced at the sugar packets. It is not. My mistake. Blue goes here. White goes here. Brown goes at the end. Why does blue go first? People take blue more. Why? Noah frowned. I do not know. Customers make strange choices. Adrian looked toward Mara. For one dangerous second, amusement warmed his face. Mara remembered that expression. She remembered late nights in diners and Adrian pretending not to laugh when she stole fries from his plate. The memory entered without permission. She turned away. Noah held up a packet. This one is ripped. What do you do with those? Throw them away. Adrian examined it with complete seriousness. Important work. Noah nodded. It is. Adrian remained crouched. What is your job? Noah asked. The question struck harder than Mara expected. Adrian glanced at her. She gave him nothing. I solve problems for businesses, he said. What kind of problems? Complicated ones. Sugar problems. Not usually. Then mine might be harder. Adrian's mouth moved. You may be right. Noah considered him again. Then he pushed 3 blue packets across the counter. You can help. Adrian looked at the packets as if they were evidence in a case he had not prepared to argue. Where do these go? Noah pointed. Straight. Not crooked. Adrian aligned them carefully. The first was perfect. The second sat half an inch too far to the right. Noah corrected it. Adrian watched him do it. Mara watched Adrian. She had seen powerful men wait for his approval. She had seen rooms become silent when he entered. She had once watched a restaurant owner refuse payment because fear had made his hands shake. Now Adrian Vale sat on his heels in front of a 5-year-old and accepted correction over a sugar packet. Mrs. Donnelly called from the window. Mara, is your friend going to block the counter all morning? Adrian immediately stood. No, ma'am. Mrs. Donnelly looked him over. You are very tall. So I have been told. Tall people always stand where they should not. Adrian stepped aside. Mrs. Donnelly returned to her scone. Noah whispered, She does that. I can see. Mara almost smiled again. Adrian ordered drip coffee. Kayla looked at him. Plain? Yes. No special milk. No. No cinnamon, no. Kayla poured the coffee and slid it across the counter. That will be $3. Adrian placed a 20 beside the register. Mara took it and returned 17. He looked at the bills. She looked back. He accepted them. Noah climbed onto the stool behind the counter. Mom says coffee tastes bad. Mara turned. I said coffee tastes bad to children. It tastes bad to me. Adrian lifted the cup. It tastes bad to many adults, too. They learn to enjoy suffering. Noah laughed. The sound entered Adrian's face slowly. His composure did not break all at once. It loosened around the eyes first, then the mouth. For a moment, he looked younger. Not harmless, but human. Mara felt grief rise so quickly she had to grip the counter. This should have happened years ago. Adrian should have known the sound of Noah's laugh before strangers photographed him outside school. Noah should have had the chance to decide whether he liked his father without danger forcing the introduction. Mara should not have been standing between the man she once loved and the child she had protected from him, wondering which loss belonged to whom. Adrian noticed her expression. He looked away first. The hour passed in small pieces. Noah explained which pastries sold fastest. Adrian listened. Noah showed him the loose hinge on the cabinet beneath the register. Adrian offered to fix it. Mara said no. He accepted that too. At 10:40, the nursing students left. At 10:50, Mrs. Donnelly folded her newspaper and told Mara the scone had been slightly dry. At 11, Mara touched Noah's shoulder. "Time to get ready for Grandma's." Noah looked at Adrian. "Are you leaving?" "Yes. Will you come back?" Mara's chest tightened. Adrian did not answer immediately. He looked at her. She gave the smallest nod. "If your mother says I can." Noah accepted this. "Bring your own sugar next time." "I will." "No gifts," Mara said. Noah looked confused. Adrian stood. "She means sugar." "No, I do not." Something almost playful moved between them, then vanished beneath the weight of everything still unresolved. Adrian walked toward the door. Mara followed. Outside, a dark sedan waited half a block away. "You kept your word," she said. "I told you I would. Men like you say many things." "I know." The words no longer sounded like a defense. They sounded like an acknowledgement of distance. Adrian looked through the window at Noah. "He is careful. Yes, he watches people. Yes, he does not trust quickly." Mara folded her arms. "He learned from me." Adrian's gaze remained on the glass. "He has my hands." Mara had noticed that when Noah was an infant. Long fingers, square palms, she had spent years refusing to attach meaning to them. "He has his own hands." Adrian looked at her. "Yes." He opened the car door, then paused. "Thank you." The gratitude unsettled her. Mara had expected demands, anger, perhaps the cold certainty of a man accustomed to ownership. Instead, he thanked her for an hour with his own son. She returned inside before she could answer. Adrian sat in the back of the sedan. Ethan occupied the front passenger seat. No one spoke. The car pulled away from harbor and ash and turned toward the river. Adrian watched the Navy door disappear behind them. Ethan looked at him through the mirror. "How did it go?" Adrian stared at the 3 blue sugar packets in his palm. He had taken them from the counter only after Noah told him to. "He gave me work." "That sounds serious." "He believed me when I said his job mattered." "He is 5. That is not why." Ethan turned back toward the road. Adrian closed his hand around the packets. On the seat beside him rested the unopened wooden sailboat. Over the next 2 weeks, Adrian returned 3 times. Never without permission. Never during the busiest hour. He sat at the counter because Mrs. Donnelly owned the window table through force of habit, and Adrian seemed unwilling to challenge her. He ordered the same plain coffee. Noah began saving the damaged sugar packets for him. "You solve business problems," Noah explained. "These are business problems." Adrian placed each torn packet beside his cup and examined it as if preparing a report. On the second visit, Noah asked whether Adrian had children. Mara stopped wiping the counter. Adrian looked at him. "No." The answer was technically true only because Noah did not yet know. Noah frowned. "Do you want them?" Adrian's gaze moved to Mara. "Yes." The word was soft. Noah returned to his packets. "You should ask someone." Mara turned toward the sink so neither of them could see her face. Later that morning, Adrian found the loose cabinet hinge repaired. Mara noticed before lunch. She called him. "You fixed it." Yes, I told you not to. You said no when I offered. That means no. I understand. Do you? Yes. Then why did you fix it? A pause. Because it was going to fall on his foot. Mara looked at the cabinet. The wood had been reinforced, not replaced. No expensive materials, no obvious sign of intervention. You could have told me. Yes. You keep agreeing with me after you do what you want. I am still learning the order. What order? Ask. Listen. Then act. Despite herself, Mara smiled. Most children learn that before kindergarten. I had a different education. Her smile faded. She knew enough about Adrian's childhood to understand the truth inside that sentence. His father had taught him that hesitation invited pain. His older brother had died at 19. Adrian had inherited men debts, enemies, and an empire before he was old enough to understand what any of them would cost. Mara once believed love could reach the part of him untouched by that world. Then Roman appeared at her door. Do not fix anything else, she said. I will ask first. The next time Adrian came, he brought no tools. He brought exact change for the coffee. Mara noticed. She hated that she noticed. The protection around them became part of the landscape. Ethan sat with his newspaper each morning. Sometimes he actually read it. A woman named Claire watched the school during afternoon pickup. She wore running clothes and carried a water bottle. Noah believed she trained for marathons. The white van did not return. Mara slowly stopped checking every vehicle in the mirror. She did not stop checking completely. One Thursday, Adrian arrived late. Only 7 minutes, but Noah had already asked twice whether he was coming. When the bell finally rang, Noah looked up too quickly. Adrian entered with tension in his shoulders and a faint cut along his jaw. Noah pointed at it. What happened? I walked into something. Mara gave Adrian a flat look. Noah accepted the explanation. You should watch where you are going. I will remember that. Adrian took his seat. Noah pushed a paper cup toward him. Inside were 6 torn sugar packets. You have a lot of work. Adrian looked at Noah. Yes. The word carried more than the child could hear. Mara heard all of it. After Noah left for school with Kayla, Mara locked the front door for 10 minutes. Adrian remained at the counter. What happened to your face? A disagreement. With whom? Someone connected to Halden. You promised to tell me when the risk changed. It is not. You expect me to trust that? No. I expect you to ask questions until you decide. Mara placed both palms on the counter. Is Halden still looking for Noah? Yes. The direct answer chilled her. Why are we still here? Because moving you without a clear threat would tell him that he found the right pressure point. My son is not a strategy. No. You keep putting him inside strategic sentences. Adrian stood. I think about him every minute I am awake. That does not make you his father. Pain entered his expression. Mara continued before guilt could soften her. Wanting him is not enough. Protecting him is not enough. You have to know him. You have to understand that he hates the dark unless the hallway light is on. He asks the same question 6 times when he is nervous. He says he is not hungry when something is wrong. Adrian listened without interruption. He does not like bananas, Mara said. He loves boats. He thinks thunder cannot find him if he sleeps under the couch cushions. He pretends he cannot read because he likes when I read to him. Adrian's gaze sharpened with every detail. Mara's voice lowered. And he remembers promises. Adrian nodded once. So do I. The silence between them changed. For the first time, Mara did not see only the man who had failed to protect her. She saw a man trying to memorize the shape of a child's life from fragments offered across a coffee counter. Why boats? Adrian asked. What? You said he loves boats. Mara looked toward the window. When he was 3, we took the ferry to Block Island. He stood at the rail the entire way. He said the ocean looked like it was breathing. Adrian's face became very still. I said that once. I know. The admission escaped before she could stop it. Adrian looked at her. Mara turned away. 6 years earlier, on a winter night near Boston Harbor, Adrian had stood beside her and watched black water move beneath the lights. The ocean looks like it is breathing, he had said. She had remembered the sentence when Noah spoke it. She had told herself children said many strange things. Now the memory stood between them. Adrian did not mention it. That restraint felt more intimate than if he had. Mara unlocked the door. 7 minutes, she said. What? You were 7 minutes late. I know. Next time call. I will. He left without touching her. The following Sunday, Mara called Diane. Her mother answered on the 4th ring. If this is about the cafe sink I told you to call a plumber, it is not the sink. Then it is worse. Mara sat on the floor beside her bed. Noah slept in the next room. Adrian found us. The line became silent. Diane knew the name. She had never met Adrian, but she had held Mara while she cried after leaving Boston. She had sat beside her in the hospital during labor. She had signed forms when Mara's hands shook too badly to hold a pen. How Diane asked. Mara told her enough. The photograph. Halden. The protection. Adrian at the cafe. Noah giving him sugar packets. Diane listened. When Mara finished, her mother asked, Has he threatened you? No. Has he tried to take Noah? No. Has he used money? No. That surprises me. It surprised me too. What does he want? To know him. And what do you want? Mara leaned her head against the bed. I do not know. That is not true. Mom, you know what you want. You do not know whether wanting it will hurt you. Mara closed her eyes. What do you do when something you stopped hoping for starts happening anyway? Diane was quiet for a moment. You stop treating hope like a promise. What does that mean? It means you can let something matter without pretending it is safe. Mara looked toward the hallway. I am afraid Noah will love him. He might. I am afraid Adrian will leave. He might. I am afraid he will stay. Diane sighed softly. That sounds more honest. Mara laughed once. The sound cracked in the middle. Her mother continued. You built a good life. Do not let any man convince you he created the empty space he wants to fill. He has not. Then watch what he does. I have been. And Mara pictured Adrian crouched beside Noah. Exact change on the counter. The cabinet hinge fixed without permission. The apology hidden inside every time he said, I know. He is trying. Trying is where people begin. It is not where they get credit. Mara held on to that sentence after the call ended. On Tuesday, Adrian did not come. Noah ate cereal behind the counter and looked toward the door whenever the bell rang. At 8:30, he asked, Is Adrian sick? I do not know. Did he walk into something again? Probably not. At 9, Noah lined up 4 blue packets beside an empty coffee cup. Mara watched him. The shape of a decision approached quietly. At 9:15, the secure phone vibrated. Adrian's message was brief. Business in Boston. I will not make it today. Tell him I am sorry if that is appropriate. Mara read it twice. He had remembered to call. He had remembered that promises mattered. She walked to Noah. Adrian cannot come today. Why? He has work. Noah looked at the empty cup. Is his job harder than mine? I doubt it. Noah smiled. The next morning, Adrian returned. Noah did not run to him. He did not complain. He simply held out the 4 blue packets. You missed work. I know. Do not do it again. Adrian accepted the packets. I will try not to. Noah studied him. Mom says, try means you might fail. Adrian glanced at Mara. Your mother is right. Will you call? Yes. Noah nodded. The matter was settled. Mara looked down at the counter because her eyes had begun to burn. It happened on a Friday afternoon. Noah came through the cafe door holding a small red toy car. Kayla followed behind him carrying his backpack. He found a treasure, she said. Mara smiled automatically. Where did that come from? Noah rolled the car across the counter. A man gave it to me. The smile left her face. What man? By the fence. Kayla stopped moving. I did not see anyone. He said I dropped it. Did you? No. Mara crouched. What did he look like? Noah frowned, trying to remember. Brown hat, gray coat. He smiled too much. The front door opened. Ethan entered before Mara called him. One look at her face, and he crossed the room. What happened? Mara pointed to the toy. Ethan did not touch it with his bare hands. He took a cloth from behind the counter, wrapped it around the car, and carried it to the nearest table. Noah watched. Is it broken? Ethan looked at Mara. Kayla, take Noah to the kitchen. Mara's voice sounded calm. Kayla obeyed immediately. Ethan turned the toy over. A thin seam ran beneath the plastic base. He used a small knife to lift it. Inside was a folded piece of paper. Mara already knew before he opened it that the message was meant for Adrian. Ethan unfolded the paper. 4 words had been printed in black ink. Every king kneels for someone. Mara stared at the sentence. The cafe seemed to lose all warmth. Ethan reached for his phone. Get Adrian here. He is already coming. How Ethan looked toward the windows. Because the man near the fence wanted us to find this. A black sedan stopped outside less than 15 minutes later. Adrian entered before the engine went quiet. He saw the toy car, then the note. For the first time since returning to Mara's life, his control failed completely. He picked up the paper and crushed it in his fist. Where is Noah? In the kitchen. Did the man touch him? No. Did he speak to him? Yes. Adrian turned toward Ethan. How did he get close? We are checking the cameras. That is not an answer. No, Ethan said. It is not. Mara stepped between them. Do not. Adrian looked at her. His eyes were no longer calm. They held something more dangerous than anger. Fear. This is what I was afraid of, Mara said. So was I. The honesty stopped her. Behind the kitchen door, Noah laughed at something Kayla said. The ordinary sound made the threat feel closer. Mara looked at the toy car on the table. Then she looked at Adrian. Take us somewhere safe. He did not move for 1 second. It was the first time she had asked him for protection instead of merely allowing it. Mara stepped closer. This does not mean I trust your world. Adrian opened the front door and signaled to the men outside. No, he said. It means you trust me to get you through tonight. It means you trust me to get you through tonight. Mara hated that he was right. She hated it while Ethan locked the cafe doors. She hated it while Kayla packed Noah's backpack with 2 shirts, his toothbrush, the blue blanket he claimed he no longer needed, and the picture book he asked for every night. She hated it while Adrian's men moved through harbor and ash with quiet efficiency, checking windows, rear exits, and the alley behind the kitchen. Most of all, she hated that the fear inside her loosened the moment Adrian arrived. That was the oldest danger between them. Not his enemies, not the cars outside, the part of her that still believed he could stand between her and the world. Noah came out of the kitchen holding the red toy car. Ethan took it gently from his hand. "We need to keep this for a while." "Why? It might help us find the man who gave it to you." Noah looked at Mara. "Did he steal it?" "Maybe," she said. "Stealing is bad." "Yes." "Are we calling the police?" The room went still in a way Noah did not notice. Mara crouched in front of him. "We are going somewhere else tonight. Grandma's no. Is it a hotel?" "Something like that." "Does it have breakfast?" Adrian stood near the front door, watching Noah with an expression Mara could not read. "It has a kitchen," he said. Noah turned. "Can I make toast if your mother says yes?" Mara looked at Adrian. He had chosen the correct answer. "Maybe in the morning," she said. Noah accepted this and reached for his backpack. Outside, 3 dark vehicles waited along the curb. The cafe windows reflected men moving beneath the streetlights. Providence carried on around them. A bus groaned at the corner. Someone walked a dog past the pharmacy. 2 college students hurried through the cold with their heads bent toward the wind. The city looked ordinary. Mara understood now how easily danger could wear an ordinary face. Adrian stepped toward her. "You and Noah ride with me." "No." His jaw tightened. "Mara, I ride with Ethan. Why? Because right now I trust him more." The words landed hard. Adrian looked toward Ethan. Ethan gave no reaction. Then Adrian nodded. "Fine." No argument, no command. Mara noticed that too. She and Noah climbed into the rear of a black armored SUV. Ethan took the front passenger seat. Claire drove. Adrian entered the second vehicle. As they pulled away, Noah pressed his forehead to the window. "Why are there so many cars?" "Because Adrian has friends helping us. Are they all business problem people?" Ethan looked back. "Some of us have other skills, like what I make good pancakes." Noah considered him. "That is not a job. It should be." Mara almost smiled, but her eyes remained fixed on the vehicle behind them. Adrian's face was visible through the windshield. Even from a distance, she could see that he was watching their car. The convoy left the city and followed the highway south. Streetlights thinned. Buildings became dark stretches of trees and fields. Noah asked questions for the first 20 minutes. Where were they going? How long would it take? Did Ethan know any jokes? Why did Claire drive without music? Then the warmth of the vehicle and the motion of the road pulled him toward sleep. His head rested against Mara's shoulder. She wrapped the blue blanket around him. Ethan lowered his voice. "The house is outside Newport." "Whose house? Adrian's?" "Of course it is. He has not used it in 2 years. That is supposed to matter. It means no one outside a small circle knows he owns it." Mara looked at the dark road ahead. "And if Halden is inside that small circle, then we will know soon." She turned toward him. "That is not comforting." "No." Ethan faced forward again. Mara studied his profile. "Why do you work for him?" Ethan took a moment before answering. "Because he pulled me out of a place I would not have left alive." "That sounds like loyalty." "It is. And if he is wrong, I tell him." "Does he listen?" "Not always." "Then what I tell him again." Mara looked toward Adrian's vehicle. Roman did not. Roman told him what served Roman. "That did not answer my question." Ethan's voice remained quiet. Adrian was different 6 years ago. Different how? Younger. Angrier. More willing to believe control and protection were the same thing. And now Ethan glanced back. Now he is afraid. The coastal house stood on a rise above the ocean. Mara saw it first as a dark shape against a darker sky. Stone walls, tall windows, a wide porch facing the water. Security lights came on as the convoy approached. Men opened the gates. Others moved along the tree line with radios pressed to their ears. Noah woke when the vehicle stopped. He blinked at the house. "Is this a hotel?" "No," Mara said. "It is big." "Yes." "Does Adrian live here?" Adrian opened the rear door before she could answer. "Not anymore." Noah rubbed his eyes. Why not Adrian looked toward the dark windows? It was too quiet. Mara stepped out. The ocean wind cut through her coat. Waves struck the rocks below with a deep, steady force. Adrian reached for Noah's backpack. Mara kept hold of it. "I have it." He released the strap immediately. Inside, the house felt nothing like Mara expected. There were no marble statues, no gold fixtures, no signs of a man trying to prove wealth through decoration. The rooms were large but spare. Dark wood, gray furniture, bookshelves that looked untouched. A stone fireplace stood cold at the center of the living room. The place did not feel luxurious. It felt abandoned. Noah wandered toward the windows. "The ocean is loud. It is rough tonight," Adrian said. "Is it breathing?" Adrian stopped. Mara looked at him. Noah placed both hands against the glass. "It sounds like breathing." Adrian stood several feet behind him. "Yes," he said. "It does." Mara saw the memory pass between them, even though only 2 people in the room understood it. Claire brought food from the kitchen. Soup, bread, fruit. Noah ate at the long table while Ethan showed him how to fold a napkin into something that almost resembled a bird. Adrian remained near the doorway. He watched but did not enter the small circle around the table. Mara noticed. She hated that she noticed everything he did now. Noah pointed toward Adrian. "Are you eating later? You said my job was harder. I remember. You cannot solve problems if you do not eat." Ethan looked down to hide his expression. Adrian came to the table. He sat across from Noah. Mara took the chair between them. For a few minutes, the room held something close to normal. Noah dipped bread into soup. Adrian drank coffee. Ethan failed to make a second napkin bird. Then a man entered and whispered into Adrian's ear. Adrian's face changed. Mara saw it happen. The warmth disappeared first. Then the man who had discussed sugar packets with Noah was gone. Adrian stood. "Excuse me." Mara followed him into the hallway. "What happened?" "Nothing you need to handle." Her anger arrived instantly. "You promised. Mara, you promised the truth." He glanced toward the dining room. "Noah can hear us. Then speak quietly." Adrian motioned toward a closed study. Mara entered first. He shut the door. The room smelled of leather and dust. Maps of the coastline hung behind a broad desk. Red marks covered ports from New York to Maine. Mara looked at them. "This is not a vacation house." "No." "What happened?" "One of Halden's couriers contacted us. What does he want the Boston terminal? And in exchange he leaves you and Noah alone." Mara stared at him. "Give it to him." Adrian's expression did not move. "Give him the terminal. It is not that simple. It sounds simple. It controls access to 3 ports. If I surrender it, Halden expands north. I do not care. I know. Then why are we having this conversation? Because men inside my organization will see surrender as weakness. There it is. What? The kingdom. Adrian's eyes narrowed. This is not about pride. Then what is it about hundreds of people depend on that network? People who sell drugs and move guns, drivers, dock workers, security staff, businesses that are legitimate. And the rest? Adrian did not answer. Mara stepped closer. You brought my son to a guarded house because a man wants a piece of your empire. Give him the empire. If I give Halden the terminal, he will know this works. What works threatening you? He already knows it works. Adrian's jaw tightened. No. We left our home. We closed the cafe. Noah is eating soup in a house surrounded by armed men. That is temporary. So was Roman. The words struck him. Mara continued. You keep telling yourself these are separate things. Roman, Halden, the terminal, your men. They are not separate. They are one world, Adrian. Your world. I know what my world is. Do you? His control cracked. I know exactly what it is. The force of his voice filled the room. Then he lowered it. I know what men like Halden do when they smell weakness. I know what happens when territory changes hands. I know how many bodies appear before anyone agrees where the new line is. Mara held his gaze. And I know what happens when a 5-year-old sees fear on his mother's face. The silence between them became sharp. Adrian looked away first. What are you asking me to do? Choose. Between what do not insult me. His eyes returned to hers. The terminal or us, she said. Adrian's face went still. Not cold. Struck. Mara felt the words inside her own chest. She had not meant to say us. Not Mara and Noah. Us. Adrian heard the difference. She saw it in the way he breathed. Do not turn that word into something it is not, she said. I did not say anything. You did not have to. Adrian moved toward the window. Outside, security lights swept across the lawn. If I surrender the terminal without a plan, Halden takes the ports and comes back later. Then make a plan. I am. No. You are preparing to leave this room and decide everything alone. He looked at her. You want the truth? Yes. The truth is that Halden contacted one of my men 6 hours before the toy appeared. Mara went cold. You knew. I knew he wanted the terminal. You knew he might be near Noah. I increased security. You did not tell me. I had no proof he would move against him. You always have a reason. Yes, always calm, always logical, always one step between the truth and what you think I can survive. I was trying to keep you from living in fear. You do not protect me by deciding what I am allowed to fear. Adrian's hands closed at his sides. I know. No, you know after. You know after Roman. You know after the photograph. You know after the toy. When do you know before? He absorbed every word without defending himself. Mara's voice lowered. I need air. She opened the study door. Ethan stood across the hall. He had heard enough to know not to ask. Mara walked past him. The rear terrace faced the ocean. Cold wind struck her immediately. She wrapped her arms around herself and moved toward the stone railing. Below, the water disappeared into darkness. For 6 years, she had imagined Adrian finding her. In some versions, he was angry. In others, he apologized. Sometimes she closed the door. Sometimes she let him in. She had never imagined armed guards' false plates, or her son carrying a message from a criminal. The terrace door opened behind her. She expected Adrian. It was Ethan. He held out her coat. Mara took it. Thank you. He remained near the door. Is he going to the meeting? Yes. When? Before dawn. Where? He has not said, because he does not trust me. Because he trusts you enough to know you would follow. Mara put on the coat. You say that as if it is better. It is not. She turned toward him. Would you let him go alone? No. Would you let me stay here without knowing Ethan did not answer? Mara stepped closer. You told me you say something again when he does not listen. Yes. Tell him I am not staying behind. He will refuse. Then tell him again. A faint expression crossed Ethan's face. Respect, perhaps. Or concern. Do you have a plan? No. That will make the argument difficult. I have spent 6 years making decisions while afraid. I can think while moving. Ethan looked toward the house. Adrian will not put you near Halden. That is not his decision. It is if the alternative is physically stopping you. Mara met his eyes. Would you help him do that? Ethan took a long breath. No. The answer changed the room before they had entered it. Adrian stood in the study with 2 men. Maps covered the desk. A photograph of Victor Halden lay beside shipping documents. Halden looked ordinary. Gray hair, expensive coat, mild smile, the kind of man who could stand beside a school fence without drawing attention. Mara walked to the desk. When do we leave? Adrian dismissed the men with one look. Ethan closed the door behind them. You are not going. Yes, I am. No, you used that word with me once. It did not work then either. This is not the cafe. That is why I am not asking. Adrian turned toward Ethan. Take her upstairs. Ethan remained where he was. The silence thickened. Adrian looked at him. Did you misunderstand me? No. Then move. No. Mara saw the moment Adrian realized the room had changed. Not against him, around him. Ethan spoke carefully. She has the right to know the plan. She has the right to stay alive. So does Noah, Mara said. And every decision you make tonight changes his life. Adrian came around the desk. You think being present gives you control? No. I think being hidden guarantees I have none. Halden wants leverage. You walking into that meeting gives him exactly what he wants. I am not walking into the meeting. Adrian stopped. Mara looked at the maps. You said he believes you will surrender the terminal for us. He does. Then let him believe it. Adrian studied her face. What are you proposing? You bring the transfer documents. You make him think he won. He will verify them. Can you make them look real? Yes. Can you track where they go? Ethan stepped toward the desk. If the documents contain a coded marker, we can follow the courier through the port system. Adrian looked at him. Ethan continued. Halden will not carry the transfer himself. He will send it through finance or legal. That gives us a name. Mara pointed to the photograph. He wants you desperate. Let him see desperate. Adrian's gaze hardened. And where are you? Close enough for him to believe you brought what matters. No. You do not need to show me. He will ask. Then refuse. He will know. Mara stepped closer. You said he thinks love makes you weak. Yes. Use that. Adrian looked at her as though he had never seen her before. She knew what he saw. Not the woman who disappeared. Not the mother behind the cafe counter. Someone who had survived his world without becoming part of it. Stop looking at me like that, she said. Like what? Like survival made me dangerous. It did. No, it made me prepared. Ethan unfolded a map of the abandoned ferry terminal on the east side of Providence. The terminal had been closed for 9 years. Concrete loading lanes faced the river. Old ticket booths created narrow lines of sight. Warehouses stood beyond the parking area. Halden chose this location, Ethan said. He wants open ground and water access. Adrian looked at Mara. You stay in an armored vehicle with Ethan. No one knows which vehicle. You do not get out. I decide when I get out. You do not. Mara stared at him. Adrian exhaled. You do not get out unless Ethan says the vehicle is compromised. That is different. Yes. They worked until 3 in the morning. Documents were prepared. Tracking markers were embedded inside seals and signatures. Claire coordinated vehicles. Adrian's men took positions around the terminal. Noah slept upstairs with Claire's sister, a nurse who had arrived after midnight. Before leaving, Mara entered his room. He lay beneath the blue blanket with the wooden sailboat beside his pillow. She stopped. "I thought I said no gifts." Adrian stood in the doorway behind her. "He found it in the car. You brought it." "I did not give it to him." Noah stirred. His hand rested against the sailboat's navy hull. Mara looked at Adrian. "You planned to?" "Yes." "Why a boat?" Adrian's eyes moved toward Noah. "Because he said the ocean breathes." Mara said nothing. Adrian's voice lowered. "I was going to wait." "For what permission?" The answer entered somewhere she was not ready to examine. Mara bent and kissed Noah's forehead. When she straightened, Adrian was still watching him. "If something happens to me," she said, "you do not take him into your world." His face changed. "Nothing is going to happen to you. That is not an answer." "No. Promise me." Adrian stepped into the room. "If something happens to you, I give him every chance to become a man unlike me. That is still not a promise. It is the only honest one." Mara hated him for the honesty. She trusted it more than comfort. The terminal appeared through fog just before dawn. Rain swept across the empty lanes. Mara sat in the rear of a dark utility vehicle beside Ethan. The windows were tinted and reinforced. An earpiece carried voices from the security teams. Adrian's car stopped beneath the broken terminal sign. He stepped out alone. No coat. No umbrella. Rain darkened his suit within seconds. Victor Halden waited near the old loading platform with 4 men. He looked exactly like his photograph. Ordinary. His smile carried no warmth. Adrian Vale Halden called. "I expected more cars. They are close." "I expected the woman." Adrian did not answer. Halden laughed. "So she matters." Adrian held a leather folder at his side. "You wanted the terminal. I wanted proof you understand your position. My position is getting wet." Halden's smile widened. Inside the vehicle, Mara listened. Ethan watched 3 monitors mounted beneath the dashboard. Small camera feeds showed the terminal from different angles. "Halden has 2 men in the south booth," he said. "I thought there were 4. There are 6 visible now." "How many hidden?" "At least 3. Mara looked through the windshield. Adrian stood alone in the rain. She knew he was not alone. Still, he looked it. Halden stepped closer. "A woman disappears for 6 years, hides your son, and you still come running." Adrian's expression did not change. "You speak about them again and the meeting ends. You think that sounds strong? No. What does it sound like?" "A boundary." Halden laughed. "Love made you soft." Adrian held out the folder. "You mistake choosing them for surrendering to you." Halden took the documents but did not open them. "One signature in the Eastern Terminal belongs to me. It belongs to the company named in those papers. A company I own. For now." Halden's smile faded. Inside the vehicle, Ethan touched his earpiece. "The marker is active." A second voice came through. "Courier vehicle moving from the west lot." Ethan looked at Mara. "He brought legal staff. That means he intends to process immediately." Adrian had been right. Halden would verify everything. Halden passed the folder to a man carrying a metal case. The courier walked toward a dark sedan near the warehouse. Then one of Halden's men looked toward Mara's vehicle. Not past it. At it. Ethan saw the same thing. He knows. The first shot shattered a security light above the terminal. Darkness swallowed half the loading lanes. Mara heard men shouting through the earpiece. Adrian moved before the second shot. He pulled Halden behind a concrete barrier as bullets struck the ground where both men had stood. Mara grabbed the door handle. Ethan caught her wrist. "No. He is out there. So are 12 armed men." The windshield filled with rain. A figure moved between the abandoned ticket booths. Another appeared near the side of their vehicle. Ethan reached for his weapon. Lock the doors." They were already locked. The man outside raised a metal tool and struck the driver's window. The glass held. Mara saw his face. Brown hat, gray coat, a smile that stretched too far. The man from the school fence. He hit the glass again. Ethan opened his door on the opposite side. "Stay down." He disappeared into the rain. The man shifted toward Mara's window. The red toy car flashed in her mind. Noah saying the stranger smiled too much. Mara looked at the controls. Ethan had shown her the security system before they left the house. Locks, alarm, emergency ignition. She pressed the alarm. A violent siren erupted from the vehicle. The man flinched but did not retreat. He raised the tool again. Mara moved into the driver's seat. The keys were already in the ignition. She started the engine. The man stepped back. Mara saw an open lane between two rows of concrete cargo barriers. She drove. The vehicle struck the first barrier and shoved it sideways. The man jumped away, but the moving concrete blocked his path toward the warehouse. He fired. The bullet struck the rear panel. Mara kept moving until the vehicle wedged between two barriers, creating a wall across the lane. The man turned. Ethan reached him before he could escape. Their bodies disappeared into rain and shadow. Mara gripped the steering wheel. Her breath came too quickly. Through the windshield, she saw Adrian. He had Halden against the edge of the loading platform. A weapon rested beneath Halden's jaw. Halden smiled even then. "There will always be another man," he said. "Another port, another threat. You cannot kill every weakness." Adrian's face held nothing. Mara knew that face. It was the one Roman had trusted, the one men feared. Adrian looked toward the vehicle, toward her. Then he lowered the weapon. Halden's smile vanished. Adrian's men closed around them. "Take him alive," Adrian said. One of his lieutenants stepped forward. "Adrian, alive. He will come back." "No." Adrian looked at Halden. "He is going to spend the rest of his life explaining his shipping records to people who do not accept bribes." Halden's expression changed for the first time. "You think the law can hold me?" "No," Adrian said. "I think your ledgers can bury you." Ethan approached with blood at the corner of his mouth. "The courier is contained. We have the documents and the financial drives." Adrian nodded. His lieutenant looked at the folder. "The terminal?" "Let it go." The man stared. "That terminal built half this organization. Then we build something else. You surrender it now, every crew on the coast will see weakness." Adrian looked toward Mara again. "No, they will see a choice." Dawn began as a thin gray line over the river. Police sirens sounded in the distance. Not local patrols, federal vehicles. Ethan had arranged the transfer of evidence through an intermediary before the meeting began. Halden looked at Adrian with disbelief. "You would burn your own empire." Adrian answered quietly. "For them, I would burn the part that keeps following them home." By sunrise, the ferry terminal was filled with flashing lights. Mara sat on the rear step of an ambulance while a paramedic examined a cut on her palm. She did not remember receiving it. Adrian approached. Blood ran from a wound near his eyebrow. His suit was soaked. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he looked at the armored vehicle wedged between the barriers. "You moved the car." "Yes. You were told to stay inside." "I did stay inside." His mouth almost moved. Mara looked at the cut on his face. "Sit." "I am fine." That was not a request. Adrian sat beside her. The paramedic left them with gauze and antiseptic. Mara cleaned the blood from his eyebrow. Adrian remained still beneath her hand. Around them, agents moved Halden and his men into separate vehicles. The terminal smelled of rain gasoline and river water. "I almost killed him," Adrian said. "I know." I wanted to. I know. You should be afraid of that. Mara pressed clean gauze to the cut. I am. Adrian looked at her. She did not look away. I spent my whole life believing that protecting something meant owning every threat around it, he said. And now, his gaze moved toward the pale horizon. Now I think it means becoming someone the people you love do not need protection from. Mara's hand stopped. The words did not erase Roman. They did not return 5 lost years. They did not make Adrian safe. But they were the first words he had spoken that did not ask her to trust his power. They asked her to measure his change. What happens to your organization? She asked. Adrian looked toward the terminal, the federal vehicles, the men who had followed him into the rain. I do not know. Mara nodded. For once, uncertainty felt safer than a confident lie. They returned to the coastal house after 9. Noah was awake at the kitchen table. The wooden sailboat sat beside his cereal bowl. He saw Mara first and ran to her. She dropped to her knees and held him. You were gone a long time. I know. Did Adrian solve the problem? Mara looked over Noah's shoulder. Adrian stood in the doorway. His face was bruised. A white bandage crossed his eyebrow. He looked exhausted. Noah turned. You walked into something again. Adrian touched the bandage. Yes, you should be more careful. I will try. Noah looked at Mara. Try means he might fail. Mara held her son closer. Yes, she said. It does. Noah picked up the sailboat and carried it to Adrian. One sail is loose. Adrian accepted it. I can fix that. Noah narrowed his eyes. Ask first. Adrian looked at Mara. The room became very quiet. May I fix it? Mara watched the most feared man on the East Coast stand before a 5-year-old holding a broken wooden boat waiting for permission. Yes, she said. Adrian sat at the kitchen table. Noah climbed into the chair beside him. Outside, the ocean struck the rocks below the house. Inside, Adrian carefully tightened the tiny white sail while Mara watched the two of them bend over the same work. Noah held the mast steady. Not too tight, he said. Adrian adjusted his fingers. Like this, Noah leaned closer, studying the knot with grave attention. A little less. Adrian loosened it. Noah nodded. That is good. The approval seemed to settle somewhere deep inside Adrian. Mara stood beside the kitchen counter with both hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she had forgotten to drink. The house was quiet now. The men who had filled the halls during the night had moved outside. Ethan spoke softly into a phone near the front entrance. Claire checked the windows and then disappeared toward the guest rooms. Morning light entered through the glass facing the ocean. It touched Adrian's bruised face and the bandage above his eye. Noah noticed the dried blood near his collar. Does it hurt? Not much. You should have ice. You are probably right. Mom says ice helps swelling. Adrian looked at Mara. Your mother is right about many things. Mara felt something tighten in her chest. Noah reached toward the sailboat. Can we put it in water? Not today. Why? The paint needs to stay dry. Noah considered this. Tomorrow, Adrian glanced at Mara again. There it was. Not a promise. A question. Mara answered before Noah could notice the pause. Tomorrow we go home. Noah looked disappointed. Can Adrian come? The room became still. Adrian did not move. Mara placed her coffee on the counter. We will talk about that. Why? Because grown people sometimes need to talk before they decide things. Noah frowned. You already talk a lot. Ethan turned toward the window, hiding a smile. Mara walked over and touched Noah's hair. Go find your shoes. We are going to rest for a while. I am not tired. You fell asleep in your cereal. I was thinking. Go." Noah slid from the chair and carried the sailboat with him. At the doorway, he turned. "Adrian, yes. Do not leave before I come back." Adrian's face changed, only slightly, but Mara saw it. "I will be here." Noah disappeared into the hall. Mara waited until his footsteps faded. "You should not promise things you cannot control. I can control the next 10 minutes. That is not what he heard. Adrian looked toward the hallway. No. His voice was quiet. He heard stay. Mara sat across from him. The bandage above his eye had begun to peel at one corner. Without asking, she pressed it back into place. Adrian did not breathe. The gesture felt too familiar. She pulled her hand away. "What happens now?" "With Halden. With everything." Adrian leaned back. "Halden will be transferred into federal custody. The drives Ethan recovered contain names, payments, routes, and accounts. Enough to keep him occupied for years. And your terminal gone. You say that as if it means nothing. It means something. How much? Millions." Mara studied him. "You gave it up. I made a choice. For us." Adrian looked at her. "For Noah." The answer should have relieved her. Instead, it left a quiet ache. She nodded. "That is the right answer. It is also not the whole answer." Mara looked toward the ocean. "I am not ready for the rest." "I know." She almost smiled at the familiar words. This time they did not irritate her. They sounded patient. By noon the roads were clear enough to return to Providence. Adrian did not argue when Mara chose to ride with Ethan again. He only asked Claire to follow closely. Noah slept for most of the drive, one hand resting on the wooden sailboat beside him. Mara watched the coastline disappear through the window. When harbor and ash came into view, relief moved through her so quickly she felt weak. The Navy door was still there. The windows were intact. Nothing had burned. Nothing had vanished. Ethan parked at the curb. Adrian's car stopped behind them. Mara stepped onto the sidewalk and stood for a moment looking at the cafe. She had expected home to feel unchanged. It did not. A place could survive the night and still be different because the people returning to it had changed. Noah pressed his face to the glass. "My sugars are still there." Mara unlocked the door. The cafe smelled faintly of old coffee and cinnamon. Adrian entered last. He remained near the doorway as if he understood the room belonged to Mara before it belonged to anyone else. Noah went behind the counter. He placed the sailboat beside the register. "It can stay here." Mara looked at him. "Why?" "So Adrian can see it when he comes." Adrian's hand tightened around the edge of his coat. Mara turned toward the espresso machine. "We need to clean before opening tomorrow." Noah groaned. Adrian removed his jacket. "What needs cleaning?" Mara looked over her shoulder. "You are going home. I can wipe tables. You own half the docks in Boston, less than half now." Ethan coughed into his fist. Mara looked at the tables, then at Adrian. "Do not move Mrs. Donnelly's newspaper. I would not dare." For the next hour, the most feared man on the East Coast cleaned coffee rings from mismatched wooden tables while Noah explained the correct placement of chairs. Adrian did not do it well. He used too much cleaner. He placed cups upside down on the wrong shelf. He almost threw away a paper crown Noah had made at school. Mara corrected him. He listened. The simplicity of it felt more intimate than the nights they had once spent together. There was no music, no promises, no illusion that love alone could save anyone. Only work. The kind that had to be done whether a person felt ready or not. 2 days later, Mara called Diane. Her mother arrived that afternoon carrying a casserole, 3 bags of groceries, and enough anger to fill the cafe. She hugged Noah first, then she looked at Adrian. He stood near the counter in a dark coat, his bruises beginning to fade. Diane did not offer her hand. "So you are Adrian Vale?" "Yes. You are taller than I expected." Noah looked up from his coloring book. "Mrs. Donnelly says tall people stand where they should not." Diane glanced at him. Mrs. Donnelly sounds sensible. Adrian accepted this judgment without protest. Mara sent Noah into the kitchen with Kayla. The moment the door closed, Diane stepped closer to Adrian. My daughter gave birth without you. I know. She worked 2 jobs while raising your son. I know. She slept in a chair beside him when he had pneumonia because she could not afford to miss another shift. Mara looked at her mother. Mom? No. He should hear it. Adrian did not look away. Diane continued. She opened this cafe with money she saved 1 bill at a time. She built a life you did not help create. I understand. Do you? Yes. Diane studied him. What do you think she needs from you? Adrian took a breath. Consistency. What does Noah need? A father who does not make him pay for the man he used to be. The cafe went quiet. Diane's expression did not soften. That is a good answer. Adrian nodded. It will mean nothing if you cannot live it. I know. Diane looked toward Mara. Then she returned her attention to Adrian. If you hurt them, I will not care how many men stand outside your door. Adrian's mouth moved slightly. What will you do? I will bring this casserole dish and make you regret being born. Mara covered her mouth. Adrian looked at the heavy glass dish on the counter. I believe you. Diane finally offered her hand. Not forgiveness, not approval, only recognition. Adrian took it. The conversation with Noah happened 6 weeks later. Mara did not choose the date because she felt ready. She chose it because Noah had begun asking questions she could no longer answer with half-truths. Why did Adrian come every Tuesday and Saturday? Why did he have the same eyes? Why did he look sad when Noah called him Mara's friend? Why did grown people become quiet whenever Noah asked about fathers? On a Sunday morning, Mara sat beside Noah on the couch in their apartment. Both wore pajamas. A cartoon played without sound. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Noah held a cup of orange juice in both hands. Mara muted the television. Can I tell you something important? He looked at her. Am I in trouble? No. Is Adrian in trouble? Not today. Noah waited. Mara folded one leg beneath herself. You know how families can look different. Mateo has 2 moms. Yes. And Ellie lives with her grandma. Yes. And Sam has 2 houses because his parents shout. Mara paused. Yes. Noah sipped his juice. What kind are we? We are our kind. That is not an answer. She smiled despite the pressure in her chest. No, it is not. She placed one hand over his. For your whole life it has been you and me. We are a team. The best team. Noah nodded seriously. Our team does not change because we learn something new. Do you understand? I think so. Mara looked into the gray-green eyes she had avoided naming for 5 years. Adrian is not only someone I knew before you were born. Noah became very still. He is your father. The words entered the room quietly. No thunder, no broken glass. Only a child holding orange juice and trying to understand why the world had changed while the furniture remained the same. Noah looked toward the wooden sailboat on the shelf. Did he know? Not until recently. Why not Mara had rehearsed many answers. None felt right, because the adults made choices when they were scared. Were you scared? Yes. Was Adrian? I think he was, but he did not understand it then. Noah studied the television. Did he not want me? Mara's heart broke so quickly she could barely breathe. She pulled him closer. No. Listen to me. He did not know you existed. The moment he found out he wanted to know you. Then why did you not tell him? There was no accusation in the question. That made it harder. Because I believed knowing him could put you in danger. Was I in danger? For a little while. Am I now not the same way? Noah thought about this. Did Adrian solve it? He helped. Did you help? Mara looked at him. Yes. Did Ethan help? Yes. Noah nodded. Then everyone had jobs. Mara pressed her lips to his hair. Yes. He leaned against her side. Is Adrian going to live here? No. Is he going to leave? The question carried more fear than Noah's face revealed. Mara refused to make a promise Adrian had not earned. I do not know what every year will look like, but he wants to stay in your life. He is trying very hard to learn how. Noah was quiet. Can I call him Dad? You can call him whatever feels right. What does he want? You should ask him. Noah looked up. Can I see him today? Mara's throat tightened. Yes. Adrian arrived at Harbor and Ash at noon. The cafe was closed. No men came inside with him. He wore the charcoal sweater from their first meeting. Mara suspected that was intentional. Noah waited behind the counter in his small apron. Adrian entered and stopped when he saw them. Mara walked to him. I told him. Adrian did not move. How did he take it? He wants to talk to you. Fear crossed Adrian's face. He had faced Halden beneath gunfire with less visible uncertainty. Noah stepped out from behind the counter. Mom said you are my dad. Adrian lowered himself to Noah's height. Yes. Did you know when I showed you the sugar no? Did you know when you fixed the boat? Yes. Noah considered this. Were you lying? Adrian did not rush the answer. I was keeping a secret your mother needed time to tell. Is that lying? Sometimes it feels the same. Mara watched Noah absorb this. Why were you not here before Adrian's eyes flickered? Because I did not know about you, and because before that I made choices that made your mother believe she had to go away. Were they bad choices? Yes. Do you still make bad choices? Yes. Noah frowned. Mom says people should learn. She is right. Are you learning? Adrian looked at Mara. Every day. Noah studied him for several seconds. Then he held out a blue sugar packet. You can still help. Adrian took it. His fingers closed carefully around the paper. Thank you. Noah climbed onto a stool. Do you still think my job is harder? I am more certain every day? Noah smiled. He did not call Adrian Dad that afternoon. He did not hug him. He simply allowed Adrian to stand beside him and sort sugar packets. It was enough. 3 weeks later, Mara and Adrian met with a family attorney named Helen Morris. Helen's office overlooked the Providence River. She wore red glasses and spoke to Adrian without any sign that his name meant more to her than the name on the appointment calendar. A legal paternity test, she said. An amended birth certificate if Mara agrees. A financial trust for Noah. A gradual visitation schedule. No changes without written consent. Adrian sat beside Mara. Agreed. Helen looked over her glasses. I have not finished. Continue. No unsupervised overnight visits until Noah is comfortable, and Mara agrees. All credible threats must be disclosed immediately. Mara retains final authority over school medical decisions and travel for the first year. Agreed. Mara looked at him. You are not going to negotiate, no. Helen turned a page. Financial support will be calculated according to legal requirements. Adrian placed a folder on the desk. I created a trust. Mara did not touch it. How much? Enough. That is not a number. Helen opened the folder. Her eyebrows lifted. Mara closed it. No. Adrian looked at her. It belongs to Noah. You do not get to place 6 years on a balance sheet. That is not what I am doing. You cannot pay for the time you missed. I know. Then why this? Because if something happens to me, he should have choices. Mara's anger softened but did not disappear. The trust stays under my control. Yes. You cannot use money to change his life without discussing it with me. Yes. You do not buy the cafe. Adrian paused. I was not going to. You thought about it. Yes. Helen removed her glasses. This may be the strangest negotiation in which both parties agree. Mara looked at Adrian. What can you do? He waited. Show up on time. The request seemed to surprise him. That is all. No. It is where you begin. Adrian nodded. I can do that. He did. Not once. Not for a week. For months. Every Tuesday at 8:30. Every Saturday at 10. If business delayed him, he called before Noah asked. He learned which school entrance Noah used. He learned not to park where the bus needed to stop. He learned that Noah hated bananas, loved boats, feared thunder, and became silent when he felt hurt. He learned that silence in a child was not obedience. Sometimes it was a question waiting for safety. Adrian made mistakes. He bought Noah an expensive electric car without asking. Mara made him return it. He arrived at school with 2 visible guards. Noah became frightened. Adrian sent them away and apologized. He missed a Saturday because a meeting in Boston became violent. Noah waited beside the window for an hour. When Adrian arrived the next morning, Noah refused to speak to him. Adrian did not buy forgiveness. He sat at the counter and waited. After 20 minutes, Noah placed 1 torn sugar packet beside his coffee. You were late. I was. You did not call. No. Why I thought solving the problem was more important. Was it? Adrian looked at him. No. Noah pushed a second packet across the counter. You have extra work. Adrian accepted it. I understand. Mara watched from the espresso machine. Change did not arrive as one grand sacrifice. It arrived in apologies repeated until they became behavior. Adrian began stepping away from the parts of his organization that could not exist near Noah. The process was neither clean nor quick. Men who had followed him for years questioned his judgment. Some left. Some tried to take what he surrendered. Roman disappeared from Boston after attempting to sell information to another crew. Adrian did not chase him. Instead, he turned records over to Ethan and focused on the legitimate shipping companies that remained. He built a private security firm from the people he trusted. He closed routes connected to weapons and narcotics. He cooperated through attorneys with investigations into Halden's network. Mara did not ask for every detail. She asked enough. Adrian answered. When he could not answer, he said so. There were still dark cars, still meetings that ended after midnight, still scars he did not explain to Noah. Adrian did not become harmless. He became accountable. That difference mattered. Spring arrived slowly in Providence. The trees along the river turned green. Harbor and Ash became busier. Mara hired a second barista. The jar labeled "New Oven" finally filled. Adrian offered to pay the difference. Mara refused. He attended the cafe fundraiser instead and bought 12 cookies at the price listed on the menu. Mrs. Donnelly told him he was wasting money. He agreed. Noah began calling him Dad by accident. The first time happened during a thunderstorm. Adrian was reading beside him in the apartment while Mara made tea in the kitchen. Thunder shook the windows. Noah pulled the blanket higher. Dad, can you read louder? The room went silent. Noah's eyes widened. Adrian did not react too quickly. He simply looked back at the page. Yes. He continued reading. Later, Noah called him Adrian again. Neither man mentioned it. The next week, Dad returned, then disappeared, then returned once more. Mara never corrected him. One evening after closing, Adrian helped stack chairs. He had become better at cafe work. Not good. Better. He placed Mrs. Donnelly's chair upside down on the table. Mara immediately moved it. She does not like that. She is not here. She will know. How? She always knows. Adrian accepted the mystery. The cafe lights were low. Rain had begun outside, soft against the navy door. Noah slept at Diane's apartment. For the first time in weeks, Mara and Adrian were alone. Adrian placed the last chair on the table. What are we doing? Mara wiped the counter, closing the cafe. You know what I mean. Yes. She continued wiping a spot that was already clean. Adrian waited. Months earlier, he would have demanded an answer or filled the silence with certainty. Now he simply stood there. Mara looked at him. I am learning who you are when no one is afraid of you. And I have not decided. Adrian nodded. The absence of argument opened something inside her. The man I loved 6 years ago wanted to protect me by deciding everything for me. I know. The man standing here asks before buying our son a toy. A faint smile touched his mouth. I was given very specific instructions. You needed them. Yes. Mara placed the cloth beside the sink. I am still angry. You should be. I still think about Roman at my kitchen table. So do I. I still wonder whether you would have chosen me if I had called. Adrian's face tightened. I wonder that too. That is not reassuring. No. He stepped closer, then stopped before entering her space. Mara could smell coffee and rain on him. I still love parts of you, she said. Adrian did not breathe. But I do not know whether those parts are enough. He looked at her for a long moment. Then I will not ask you to decide tonight. Mara felt the words more deeply than any promise he had made, not because they offered certainty, because they gave her room. She stepped forward. Adrian remained still. Mara touched the healed line above his eyebrow. His eyes closed for half a second, then opened. You are very difficult to forgive, she said. I know. There it is again. What that answer? It is usually true. Mara almost laughed. Her hand remained against his face. Adrian lifted his own hand, then stopped. May I? The question was barely audible. Mara nodded. He touched her waist carefully. Not ownership, not rescue. Permission. She kissed him first. The kiss was not the one they remembered. It was slower, sad in places, uncertain. It carried 6 years of silence, anger, longing, and the knowledge that love did not erase what had happened. When they separated, Adrian rested his forehead against hers. I am not promising forever, Mara whispered. I am not asking for it tonight. Tomorrow I will ask what time Noah needs to be at school. Mara smiled. That is a better answer. The following morning, Mara unlocked the Navy door at 6. Noah carried napkins from the kitchen. Adrian stood behind the counter attempting to pour milk into a latte. The foam spread into a shapeless white circle. Noah climbed onto his stool. That does not look like a leaf. Adrian studied the cup. It could be a storm cloud. It looks like a potato. Mara laughed. The sound surprised her. Adrian looked up. For one moment, the cafe held still around them. The copper lights, the mismatched chairs, the new oven humming in the kitchen, the wooden sailboat beside the register, the blue sugar packets arranged in perfect rows. Noah reached for Adrian's hand and moved it away from the milk pitcher. "You are doing it wrong, Dad." Adrian looked at him. Noah did not seem to realize what he had said. Or perhaps he did. Adrian swallowed. "Show me." Noah took the picture. Mara watched them from across the counter. For 6 years she had built her life around enough. Enough money for rent, enough food in the refrigerator, enough sleep to open the cafe before sunrise, enough love between a mother and her son to make a family complete. Adrian had not come to rescue that life. He had not replaced it. He had learned to enter carefully. The bell above the door rang. Mrs. Donnelly stepped inside and looked at the latte. "What happened to that coffee?" Noah pointed at Adrian. "He made a potato." Mrs. Donnelly removed her coat. "Tall people should not make foam." Adrian moved away from the machine. "I am beginning to understand that." Mara turned the sign to open. Outside, Providence woke beneath a pale spring sky. Inside, Noah explained the proper angle of the milk pitcher while Adrian listened with complete attention. The Navy door remained open behind them. Adrian looked across the counter at Mara. He did not reach for her. Not until she reached first. Mara placed her hand over his. The coffee was too strong. The foam looked like a potato. Noah was talking too quickly. Mrs. Donnelly was already complaining about the scones. Nothing was perfect. Nothing was guaranteed. But the room was warm and the people inside it had chosen to remain. For the first time in 6 years, Mara allowed herself to believe that enough did not have to be the end of the story. It could be the place where something fuller began.